of School and Community Relations, and I appreciate you taking your seat so we can keep this tight and bright this morning and get you back to work. First, I'd just like to say thanks to all of you and all the wonderful work you're doing across our district. Last year, we were able to share 295 positive media stories in our local media outlets, and beyond that, we were able to share thousands of tweets and Instagram photos and Facebook posts and social media sharing because of all the rock stars we have across our building. So please continue to keep up the wonderful work, and we will continue to help spread all the good news about Waterloo schools and those of you who make it a wonderful place to work and thrive for our community and students. First off, I'd like to announce our presentation of colors under the direction of Sergeant Philip Ledbetter, the East High JROTC. And now, East High senior Brian Bennett will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, West High graduate Jacqueline Madison will lead us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Our first speaker for opening remarks, I'd like to invite to the podium Becky Mohorn. She is the WEA president.
Thank you. Good morning. As many of you can probably imagine, I got a lot of butterflies right now. I would like to welcome you to the 2014-2015 school year. A special welcome to Dr. Jane Lindeman, our new superintendent, and all the new staff to our district. As I have thought about the school year and our important task of educating our students for the future, I think about how important communication and collaboration is to the Waterloo community and all of our stakeholders. We are a team, and there is no I in team. There should be no them, no us, no they, no me, only we. Richard Meehan said, a teacher's best resource is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspective. As the WEA president, I'm calling on all Waterloo community stakeholders to work together, collaborate as much as possible this year, and we will do great things together. For effective collaboration to take place, communication is key. I came across the quote by Emma Thompson. Any problem, big or small, always seems to start with bad communication. Someone isn't listening. So I challenge each and every one of you to listen. Really listen to each other. As you are listening, keep your eye on the prize, educating our students and raising student achievement. Waterloo is an awesome place to live and grow. Take some risks this year. Try something new, and we will rise together. I want to leave you with the words from a famous song by Sister Sledge. We are family. Thank you. Have a great year.
And now I'd like to invite to our stage Teresa Steiber-Moncada, the WESP president.
Good morning. As the president for the Waterloo Educational Support Personnel, I would like to welcome all the district support personnel back to what we hope will be a very productive year. The WPSE is the sole collective bargaining agent for more than 300 classroom support personnel, secretaries, and other professional support persons in the district. Our work, although often overlooked by the public, is essential to the education of our students. Our impact on students' life is often equal to, and sometimes greater than, that of the classroom teacher. Because of this, the WESP stands ready to work with teachers and administration to make the Waterloo Community School District a model for the entire state of Iowa. This year, our monthly meetings will be held at various buildings around the district. We invite you to attend any of these meetings, but especially try to attend the meeting at your building. We are hopeful that by doing this, we will improve communication with our members. A calendar of the meeting is going to be available and sent to buildings. We would also like to invite those of you who are currently not members to join the WESP. Working together, we are stronger than if we work separately. To kick off our membership drive, the WSP is hosting a special membership drive meeting to be held at the ISEA Waterloo Regional Office on Tuesday, September 9th from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. We will be serving pizza and beverage to all members and potential members who attend. We would love to talk to you about the WESP and what we can do for you this coming year. Hope to see you there. Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of the connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Have a great year.
Now I'd like to invite a familiar face to the Waterloo Schools Foundation, a former board member and now the head of the foundation, Krista McMurlin, to share a few thoughts.
Good morning. My name is Krista McMurlin, and I'm the new Executive Director of the Waterloo Schools Foundation. The Waterloo Schools Foundation was originally created in the late 80s, early 90s, but in its current model has been in place since 2010. The foundation exists to fund academic programs and projects that will increase student achievement and educational excellence in the Waterloo Community School District. The foundation is a nonprofit, charitable organization. So why do you care? What's in it for you? It's your foundation, and we exist to support you. If we break it down to its basic purpose, my job is to sell education. I'm asking individuals and business leaders to invest in our community. It's in their belief in all of you and their desire to help our students that bring the money in. What that means for me, I need to be aware of the exceptional things you all are doing to support and educate the kids in the Waterloo School District, so I can tell the community all about it and give that money back to the students in our district. I made an informed decision when I accepted the job to lead the Waterloo Schools Foundation. No one told me it would be easy. I happen to believe the beneficiaries are worth it. If we have nothing else in common, I know the one thing we all share. From school bus drivers, paraprofessionals, teachers, administrators, lunchroom staff, custodians, and secretaries. We all enter this field and show up to work each day because we care about kids. So what I'm asking you to remember about the Waterloo Schools Foundation, remember the foundation is here to support you. I'm fundraising because the students in Waterloo and all of you are worth it.
And now I'd like to ask the Waterloo School Board members to please stand. We'd like to acknowledge Shanley McNally, Andrea Sparks, Mike Kinchy, Lyle Schmidt, Angela Weekly, Sue Flynn, and School Board President Mike Young for all of the work they do. They value your opinion. And Board President Mike Young would like to make a few remarks on behalf of the board.
Thank you, Carol. On behalf of Lyle Schmidt, Shanley McNally, Sue Flynn, and Mike Kinchy, Andrea Sparks, and Angela Weekly, your school board thanks all of you for being willing to be that person to help the school children of this district grow and succeed. This is a very exciting time in our school district, in great part because we have some new leadership in place. I'm thrilled Krista McMurlin is heading up the Waterloo Schools Foundation. I think she's going to do a fantastic job for that organization as it works to help kids of our school district. I'm also excited that we have Jane Lindeman as our superintendent. We as a school board are very optimistic that she is our district's leader, and we're very excited about our future. And we remain that way because we believe in the Waterloo Schools, we believe in Jane as our leader, and the future is very bright for us. Many of you know and are familiar with Dr. Lindeman, and in turn she's familiar with us because she's been in the district, she's been here for a while, and she can hit the ground running. And her leadership team has spent the past few months working on the school district's goals and objectives and strategic plan, and then we as a school board have been meeting with Dr. Lindeman to discuss those goals, in particular those related to student achievement. And we do that at a time when this district is undertaking probably the largest and most comprehensive long-range planning ever done. And that's as we go through with our 21st Century High School Task Force and our high school programming in general. But I want to add that Dr. Lindeman was not hired simply because she had experience in our district as an internal candidate. We as a school board unanimously hired Dr. Lindeman because we thought she was the best candidate, period. She is very compassionate, she's incredibly hardworking, she's tactful, she's fair, she's incredibly bright, She, as much as anyone I've ever met, is wholeheartedly focused on doing the right things for kids. She doesn't do drama, which is great. We found that she's very transparent. She's always willing to listen, try to find ways to improve. We found that she doesn't care who gets the credit. So we as a school board will always provide oversight, and we'll always pay attention. But we also strongly support Dr. Lindeman because we believe in her and her abilities. With that said, we all, the school board and Dr. Lindeman, know that the success of our district is dependent on what happens in the classrooms in your buildings. We want you all to have the best tools and the best environment possible to find that success for kids. We want to know if there are impediments or barriers in place that get in your way as you do your work. So always feel free to talk to us. Please talk to us. We're all on the same team here. And I think our team works best when we all make our decisions based on doing the right things for our kids. So thank you again for all you are doing, and please have a great year. Thank you.
Each year, hundreds of teachers across our area are nominated for the Gold Star Award, but only a select few make the cut. Let's take a look at the Waterloo School staff members who were awarded this prestigious honor.
Boys and girls, can I interrupt for just a second? Because I have some good news for Miss Phillips. Come on in, guys. We have some good news to share.
You're a 2014 Gold Star teacher. Go hug your family.
It's quite an honor, but it's also quite humbling because I work with an amazing group of people. Team Lincoln is a pretty awesome place, and there are amazing teachers here, and there's not one teacher here that I can think of that doesn't deserve this honor just as much as I do. So it was quite a humbling experience to have everybody walk in the room.
Mr. Welch, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have some fabulous news. The best news we could have today. Let's bring some folks in to talk to Mr. Welch about his good news. Miss Nemo? Are you starting? We have great news for you today. Maybe Miss Nemo's thing will give you a clue. Do you see the Captain America shield? What's odd about that shield? Come on in. We got room. Come in. There's the shield. Huh? Oh my. Wow. All right. Can you guess what your news is yet?
I won the lottery?
No?
Even better! Mr. Welch, you're a 2014 Gold Star teacher.
I was very surprised. I had some family come from Texas, Illinois, and northern Iowa. It's pretty exciting. I'm really just a reflection of what happens in this building. We've spent years getting here, and it's fun to be a big part of it.
We have some guests. Would you all come on in? Does anyone know this young lady here, the second lady here? Miss Hennings, would you come here for a moment?
Ms. Hennings, you're a 2014 Gold Star teacher.
This is just a wonderful honor. I can't believe it's happened. I've known so many wonderful Gold Star teachers, and the capabilities that they show as teachers just is overwhelming, and so I'm just very proud to join them.
I need everybody just to freeze right where you are, because I have some really awesome news. But I brought some people with me that are going to help me share the news. So we're all just going to come in. We're going to ask you to be very quiet and freeze, and we're all just going to come in and circle around the room. Some people here. And lots of
You are a 2014 Gold Star teacher.
It's really an honor. It's an honor to be picked by my students and to know that they value my teaching. And I'm proud to be their teacher, and I'm proud of them, how hard they work.
She's a great role model to me. I think she's a great teacher, and she cares about us so much. And I think she deserves it a lot because I don't know what we'd do without her.
Congratulations! I am a Gold Star teacher.
I am a Gold Star teacher.
I'm a Gold Star teacher. I'm a Gold Star teacher.
Each year, the Dr. Arnold Schwarzenegger Award for Academic Excellence is awarded to the school with the most growth from spring of 2013, in this case, to spring of this year. And this year, with the staff, the award recipients, please rise. Irving Elementary. Congratulations. And now the moment we've been waiting for, our keynote speaker of the morning. She's a former basketball player, an outstanding mother, an educational leader, and she can bake some mean cakes and pies. Let's give it up for Waterloo School's first female superintendent, Dr. Jane Lindenberg.
Like what the people feel like when they are on America's Got Talent. So pause a moment while I go get my saxophone. I'm also saxophone. No, I would not do that to you. But you guys, I am so honored to be up here this morning, and I don't do podiums, so I hope you're okay with this. I'm thrilled and maybe just a little bit overwhelmed. I did a little bit of walking around earlier because I thought that would make me less nervous. I don't know if that worked or not. But I'm really happy to be here. So it has been a very interesting journey. I came to Waterloo, this is my 10th year. So I've been in Waterloo for a while. I called Bev Smith, I don't know where she is, 10 years ago, and I said, you know what, I think I'm ready for something different. And she said, I got an idea. So I came here 10 years ago and never once dreamed, do I need to do something different, sound people? Are you hearing the feedback too? Oh, okay, that'd be great. It's all just informal. We're all just family, Becky Mohorn. Great. And I'm really excited to serve in a new capacity. So I know we've done some thank yous this morning, but I also have some thank yous of my own. First of all, I want to thank the school board. I just want to specifically make a comment to you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for being willing to take a risk to hire me. I'm going to do my very best in that, and you can be guaranteed that. So thank you very much. And when we thought about coming here today, I was really trying to debate. Usually we have, or lately we've been having an external speaker come in from maybe somebody to do some entertaining or something a little bit different. And this morning, I am your entertainment. So, sorry about that. I wanted to take this opportunity to let you guys get to know a little bit about me as a person and as your next superintendent. So, and I really appreciate you sitting together in your groups. That was just kind of my idea, and everybody else supported it, but I was so thrilled. I just thought it would be fun to see the magnitude of the buildings, because we are family, and I really believe that, and you are families, and we have ESC, and we have Bunger, and East, and West, and Expo, and I think Elk One way over there. Hello, Elk One. That's fantastic. And we're going to sing or swim together, and I truly, truly believe that. So thank you for doing that. So I have 3 objectives for today, just 3. And I'm going to, oh, it worked. I was so worried that my thing would not work. I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning kind of sweating the little stuff, which is just ridiculous. So, Okay, so really, my three objectives for today are really just to let you know who I am. I want to talk a little bit about strategic planning, and you're going to get so much more later this fall, and you're actually going to get a chance to weigh in and to give us some feedback on that, but I really thought maybe I would take this opportunity to kind of unveil a little bit of that. And then finally, I just want to share some of my best hopes for Waterloo Schools. So let's just get started. So who is Jane Lindeman? Do you like that little tag? That's cute. Let me just tell you a little bit about the background of where I've been. I am a middle school math teacher. Middle school math teachers, where are you? That was my trade, and I was in Wichita, Kansas for a number of years, for 3 years, and then I came back to Iowa and I went to Colonesco, and most people don't know where that is or maybe have driven through it, but I was in Ziering for 3 years as well. And at that point in time, I just really felt like maybe leadership was my thing. And actually my dad told me it was my thing, and so there you go. And so I went back to school, and then I have had leadership experiences in 3 districts. I was in Estherville, way up in northwest Iowa, for a couple years as the assistant principal at the middle school, pretty good sized middle school. And then kind of wanted to come back home. This is sort of back home for me. I'm from Ackley, which is just 40 miles maybe to the west. And so I came back to Dysart and was at Union Middle School for 8 years. And I absolutely loved it, and I kind of, when I went through, I thought, okay, I've arrived, I think I could retire, and then I realized that I had a really long time to retirement. And so, because I'm very young, so I decided that I thought, you know what, maybe I need a challenge, maybe I need something new, and so that's when I came to Waterloo, and I came to Bunger as the middle school principal, and I was there for just 1 year, and I loved it, and it wasn't you guys, really nothing you did. I loved Bunger, and I really wanted to stay there, but then there was kind of a different calling, and on the very last day of school, I had the opportunity to take a different job, which was the Director of Learning and Results. So I came to the central office, and I did that for a few years, I think 4. And then when Denise Shares, some people remember her, when she left, she was the associate superintendent, and when she left, I took her job. And so last fall, I would have never guessed that I would have been, matter of fact, when a couple people mentioned it to me, I said, oh, thank you, but no thanks. But other people had different plans for me, including God, I think. But anyway, so I accepted the position, and I'm super thrilled to be there. So let me tell you, here's who I am as a person. I'm a wife to a really amazing guy. My husband is Steve, and we have 2 children. They are 7 and 5, a little wild. They will be in kindergarten and 2nd grade, and so the 2 of you out there who have them, bless you. And I'm going to stick with you all year, and we're going to make it. It'll be really good. So, and they're amazing. I have a love for mathematical anything. Numbers, my mind thinks in numbers all the time. It's kind of a little bit of an illness, but love it. And I also really love to write. So I do a lot of writing, and I think the writing and the math kind of make me really love research too. So I sometimes will call myself a research junkie because I love it a lot. So kind of read it for fun when everybody else is out, like, I don't know, going out for supper or something, I'm reading research. So anyway, and then Tara wasn't kidding, I'm kind of a farm girl. I grew up on a farm, raised on a farm. I love to cook, I love to bake. I'm an avid camper. And probably most of all, I would say my very best hobby is traveling. My family and I travel a lot, and we love it. So that gives you just a little bit of a glimpse of who I am as a person. I am pretty regular. I do not do drama very well at all. So I'm just, I'm just thrilled to be here. So let's take a look at goal number 2, which is really our strategic plan. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. 9 years ago, when Dr. Norris was here, or let's see, 6 years ago, 6 years ago. When he came, we decided that we needed to kind of revamp and look at a new strategic plan. And we did. And we did some really aggressive, assertive things in curriculum and instruction and in climate and in safety of our buildings in some really big areas. Made some growth in financial excellence. And so we just really did some great things in that area. And so we kind of had a phase 1 And now I'm excited today to announce the beginning of kind of our phase 2. So I want to show you what that looks like. Yeah, here's a recap of where we were. You might remember, some of you would know that we had 5 areas. We had achievement, we had human assets, community engagement, facilities and finance, and then we had climate for learning. So when I started this summer, started working with a variety of people and decided that we just really wanted to frame up phase 2. And so we kind of came up with people, achievement, community, and environment. 4 things, and if you look at the acronym, it's really PACE, because it's kind of the pace of change, which is pretty cool. So I want to show you how that lines up. It is not a brand new strategic plan. That's the exciting part. When I was hired, it came pretty loud and clear that it wasn't that we wanted to continue what we had started, but fine-tune it. And so let me show you a little bit graphically how this matches up. So student achievement is still there. I would argue that it probably should have been the first one, but then PACE would have been kind of APSI, and that wasn't probably easy to remember. So we have achievement is there, loud and strong. We also have human assets, and you know what we're going to do? We're just going to call it people, because that's what it is. Human assets is you. Human assets for Waterloo is you. You're the ones who make the difference. We all make the difference. It's people. Sorry, I went 2 in a row, but community is there, as is the facility and finances, and we're just going to call it environment. Then we have this one hanging down here, the climate for learning, and instead of having it as its separate one, I think that the climate allows us to do all of the other things. And so they kind of fit right in there. Part of it is going to appear in achievement, and then the other part's going to appear in environment. So I'm going to take 4 slides. So if there's any part of my presentation that's maybe a little less exciting and entertaining, it might be these 4 slides, but they're also super critical because it's why we're here. So let me just go through these 4. So we have this PACE. We are under construction. Down in the left-hand corner, you're going to see that we are really working on the goals, the actions, and the measurements, because we're going to firm that up very clear. You will see it. You will be a part of writing that. You will give input on that. And you're all going to know it, because we want to make sure that that's your mantra. That's what you do every day. So here's people. There's really 3 basic goals that are going to exist under there, at least at the present time. We have the attract and retain quality, diverse staff. And luckily, I have mentioned several times, I've had the honor to speak with the new teachers a couple times already this year, and I've mentioned to them that we received the TLC grant. It's $3.4 million infused into our budget to really help us grow our staff, attract and retain new teachers. And we've had a problem with, and as has many districts, but we've had some trouble retaining our staff, because sometimes they feel either unsupported, and sometimes they leave for reasons that we couldn't control, and they can't either. But if there are any way that we can keep every staff member, barring the ones that need to leave because somebody moves or a spouse gets transferred or something, that's a different case. We want to do that. It's super important, because the consistency of staff, that's you guys. So that's really important. So you're going to see some goals in that area. Providing clear expectations and support until our practice is perfected. I think that's maybe the piece where we need a lot more work. We've got some great foundation things set up, but we've got to hone our skills and continue to do that. And support you, so that you know exactly what you're doing, and so it feels pretty good for you to do your job. And finally, the third one that I felt really compelled to add was organizational health. And because I love to read a lot, one thing that I have noticed is that a lot of times when organizations, businesses have a fairly large change, sometimes that comes with a lot of growing pains. And sometimes it just comes with pain. And so I think we have to look at the organizational health of Waterloo. I did not know what Becky was going to say or what Teresa were going to say, but I could not agree more about the comments that we are on the same team. Becky said there's not an I, it's a we. Teresa made some comments also about we are together, And we have to notice every single child, and we can do that together. I could not agree more. And all of those things come in the organizational health category. I want you and myself, I want to be proud, and I want to be able to speak that. I want to hear people who are proud to be a Waterloo staff member. Because I am. I could not be more thrilled. And when people say, where do you work? Loud and clear, I say, I work in Waterloo. Thrilled. So here's the achievement. There's just a few things in here that I wanted to highlight today. Again, you're going to get a better glance at this later, but we're going to continue the proficiency in math, reading, and science. That's there. That's always going to be there. Those are foundational skills. But what you're going to see is that we're really going to branch out a little bit into some of the other areas of support and development. I know that with my own children, there are certain things that really trip their trigger, and we need to capitalize on those things as well. So you're going to see that. Promote social, emotional, behavioral development. We've got a lot of needy kids who need us, and so that's going to be part of our next 5-year phase. We've done some things. We're going to continue that work. The big bullet there, 21st century schools. The high school reform is going to be a big part of making sure that our schools are ready for the 21st century. We have some kids for whom we haven't hit the mark. We haven't fully engaged them, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And by golly, that graduation rate is going to go up because we want our kids to stay with us, because if we lose them before they graduate, they're set up for failure, because you've got to have a diploma. And the last bullet I call the personalized learning. We know that we've got some kids who have some special talents, and we need to tap into that and let them soar. And we've also got other kids who have a pretty good gap between what they know and what they could know and what they should know, and we're going to work on that as well. So that's achievement. Let me move on to community. Everything that we're going to do with the strategic plan, there's no doubt that we're probably the biggest part of it. You all 1,619, I think I heard, of us, 1,619 people. We are definitely the biggest part of it, but we can't do it alone. And so you're going to see some goals by way of community. So we have, we're going to communicate more so than ever. I think Becky said a lot of times when things happen, communication is probably the first fault, and she's right about that. Improve image and confidence in Waterloo schools. Be proud. Be proud of who we are, and we want everybody else. And talk about it. If you see an issue, don't complain about it. Be part of the solution. Be part of the solution, because when you're venting to a parent, or you're venting to somebody else, or you're venting to a colleague, I want you to take my challenge. I want you to think through a screening tool in your mind. What good is that going to me to do what I'm doing right now? Or is there a better route? Because if you're talking to somebody who can't fix it, then don't. Then don't. Let's quit being our own worst enemy, and let's tell people what we're all about. We're going to partner with businesses and organizations. That bullet is going to be ever so important as we move forward with the high school reform, because you know that includes adding some technical education to our high schools. That doesn't happen in a vacuum, because it's not just us teaching them how to do things and then we let them go. It's teaching them how to do things that they're going to need to do out in the businesses. And in order to know that, we're going to have to collaborate. And they can help us with a variety of things. Knowledge, curriculum, materials, equipment, that kind of thing. And then we're going to empower parents, because parents, listen, if we think that parents don't care, we are wrong. We are wrong. Parents do care. And they may not show it exactly how you might do it or how I might do it, but they do care about their kids. And we owe it to them to do our very best to tap into what they want for their children and what they can do to help us with that. So finally, environment. Environment has to do with the physical safety of kids and the learning environment. So there's two pieces there. I probably wouldn't, let's see if I need to say anything there. The physical environment, we're going to have to make some changes, I believe, to support the high school reform efforts. Adding technical education doesn't just happen in the space that we already have set up. There's going to have to be some different formatting or facilities to make that happen. So we're going to have to do that. We're going to make some changes, or at least explore what to do with athletics and extracurricular activities. We know that kids who are engaged in at least one thing have a better chance of not being at risk and have a better chance of engaging with people and not looking for something else. So let's give them the one thing, the one activity here in school, so that they don't have to find it somewhere else that might not be positive. So let's do that. And then we're gonna make sure that our budget is sound and make sure that it matches our priorities. So that's the glance at the 4 areas that you're gonna hear more about. So finally, as I bring it into the end, how do we accomplish this? It has to do with you and you and you and you and me. And so we're gonna work at this together. I'm going to go, this is the last one, so if those of you are counting, I wonder when she's on her 3rd point. I'm on my 3rd point right now. So my challenge to you today is to be the one who makes a difference. Be the person, be the team, be the building, be the district, be the school board that makes a huge difference for kids. Make Waterloo Schools an awesome place to be, and we can do that. That's totally doable. That's the good message that I'm giving you right now. So I want to talk just a little bit. I want to show you just a video. Robbie Novak is a 10-year-old, and I know that you all have seen him. You may not recognize the name. What clued me in, or what keyed me into Robbie, was something that I thought was really cool. Robbie, I've seen him in multiple videos, and I think you have too. Matter of fact, maybe some of you have seen the one that I'm going to show in just a minute, but it's good enough that you can watch it twice. Robbie suffers from a syndrome. It's osteogenesis imperfecta, and you probably have heard brittle bone disease or brittle bone syndrome, and he has that. But I didn't even know that. I've seen all these videos of him, and I had no clue that he even had any challenges at all. So what I love about him is that he's a boy who has challenges, but he doesn't let that determine his outlook or his success. So you know him as Kid President. Do you know him? Raise your hand if you knew that about his physical. Who knew that about? How cool is that? That's not the issue for him. He said it doesn't make up who I am. Do we have some challenges in Waterloo? Yeah, but it doesn't define who we are. We are teachers of children. So, I want to stop right there. Let's pause. It's a 2-minute, 30-second video, I think. Let's watch this.
Only a pep talk. The world needs to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, aren't we on the same team? I mean, really, right? My team, you're my team. This is not people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. Oh, 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Rocks, thorns, and glass, a parts road. Wow! Not cool, Robert Frost. I won't be anyone that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Jordan said, don't stop believing unless you dream something. Then you should be ready. You better train to keep going, and keep going. Will Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he didn't quit, but we retired. But before that, in high school, Wolfie quit when he didn't make the team. He would have never made Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create to make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. Probably know this. Everybody do the kids the world faces to face. So get to it. You just need a pep talk. Create something that will make the world awesome. Layla.
We're going to create something together that makes this place awesome for the kids that we serve. So be the one that leads Waterloo Schools to awesome. That's not just me, that's all of us. Here's my challenge. And every school, every group is going to be on here. So I want to just give you some ideas. Be the one, East West Expo, that tracks every 9th grade kid and make sure that they have 11 credits when they graduate this spring. Bus drivers, be the one that they want to write an article about because you greeted every single child and you said, hey, it's so good to see you. Thank you for coming to school today. Now, people could argue and say, well, that's their job to come to school every day. It is, but it never hurts to hear that. Be the one who does that. Pre-K teachers, be the one who looks at our 5-year-olds and ensures that they get started with an amazing self-concept. I matter. I'm good at this. Cunningham, Kittrell, Lowell, or any elementary, make sure that you support your new teachers in your building at such high levels that they cannot imagine working anywhere else. Custodians, nurses, food service, make sure that be the ones who follow up on that child that you said, they seemed a little off today. They simply need a little extra TLC. Follow up on them. Be the one who does that consistently. Highland, Becker, be the ones who work to get reading materials in every single home and help the parents know how to use them. Bunger, Carver, how about no students in Tier 3? Lou Henry, Orange, Lincoln, be that team that sends out a lesson plan that's so amazing that you just can't imagine teaching that content without this lesson plan. 4th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade, whoever. Be the one that shares because we can't do it alone. There's just not enough time. Pointer, Irving, Kingsley. Be the one who treats every child like your own. And I'm going to tell you right now, that didn't mean as much to me until I had my own children. That's huge because I want everyone to treat, well, maybe not always. Be the one who treats the children just like they're your own. Paras. Be the para who demands to know exactly what would best support the instruction. And if you don't get that information, go seeking it. Be the one who does that. Central Hoover. How about 100% of parents at conference time? If they don't come to you, go to them. When you turn in your report, 100% and do it proudly. Building district office staff, ESC. Be so contagiously positive about Waterloo Schools that parents want to bring their kids here. Be a Sharice Ortman. Be a Tara Thomas. Going after those parents say, oh, boy, do we have a deal for you. You have to be here. Be the one, Jane Lindemann, who inspires people to do their very best and accepts nothing less than students first. Be the one that does something so amazing that Andrew Wind is knocking on your door because he has to tell your story. I don't know if he's here, but I thought that would toss him a bone. I don't see him, but we'll tell him. Just be the one, guys. We can do it. We totally can do it. So that's kind of the end of what I want to say to you today. I am really excited about where we're going. I'm thrilled. I'm optimistic about what we can accomplish this year. You help me, I'll help you, and we're going to do it together. Thank you for choosing Waterloo. Thank you for being here. watch. It's a short video, and it is so inspiring because it's all about you. And as I greeted you this morning, many of the faces I saw are actually on this video, so it's really cool.
Started it with 3rd and 5th grade, every kid in the district. The 3rd grade's doing a different challenge. Theirs is called rolling things. The 5th grade's called the jet toy, but this way every child will get a STEM activity.
You can call it chemistry.
Today, I am going to have a few students perform their raft that they created for the new chemistry unit. Students chose to be singer-songwriter and to write a song about the elements, and it's really important for teachers to model what they want students to do.
Long tail and what else?
Focus is on pre-literacy skills and math, and we have a very, very strong initiative on STEM activities. So we're just very excited for the opportunity to serve the district's youngest students.
We did a presentation where we told the school what we were going to be doing and gave out some statistics.
We're making Expo anti-bully t-shirts. Blue is for the anti-bully part, and orange is to unite against bullying.
But those people who are victims of bullying to know that we are doing something and that we do care.
I want people to stand for the silent and help people who are getting abused. I hope that they know if they are getting abused that they're not alone and then they can tell somebody. I thought it was pretty important for us because lots of kids can get bullied in many grades. I hope they stop because when they stop, it's gonna probably just change the world.
I wrote the song and recorded it myself. Basically, I took stuff that I've been through before, what other people go through, and just created this character and story out of it. This ain't really what it's supposed to be. Body hotline, I'ma see what this is my first music video, and I'm glad it started off with something that could change people. And that's what I want to do with my music is, change the lives of people and hopefully make a difference in their lives.
Actually, we had a student come up to us afterwards and say that the feelings that she had related to the project just made her feel so much better. So what I wanted our goal to accomplish was that we did touch students' hearts.
So far we've learned that it's good to plant plants so we need more oxygen in the world, and we're going to plant milkweed so we can attract monarch butterflies.
Each of your teachers has volunteered to adopt a tree, and we need every single one of you to help us today.
We're really excited about the tree planting event that we have going on today. We have lots of reasons to plant trees, including habitat for birds and other animals, shade for our building, and to keep the children from blowing off the playground when the wind blows from the north.
Well, thank you very much.
The Dan Gable Award is Mr. Wrestler for the state of Iowa here.
The active table we received from a grant. We've been able to use it for different things in every grade level.
The best thing about having the Google Chromebooks in our 4th grade classroom has been that it's given the students opportunities to do things they wouldn't have done before.
They are doing some strategic reasoning games, and we actually purchased these games K through 2, so we have other classrooms doing this as well.
I wrote the grant to get the Kindle readers, and I'm sharing those with the team, and the kids are so excited because they're telling me what they want to read.
A Blue Zone school is a part of the Blue Zone project for students and staff to both become healthier individuals and live longer, happier lives. So it's a great program that is just incorporating physical activity and healthy eating into our lives.
Last year, one of our big focuses was students owning their own learning. This year, we felt like it was time to expand that ownership into the rest of the building. They know now that they're a part of things that's happening here, which makes them feel, I think, just a little bit more like, oh, this is my school.
PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Support, and when we're here at Bunger, we're respectful to one another and we take this really seriously.
PBIS at Bunger is really part of what we do. It's really part of our foundation. It's ingrained in our students, it's ingrained in our teachers.
Welcome to the latest Waterloo School student names.
All right, you got this, all right? Just watch the ball, you can hit it.
This is our FTC Robotics Club. They learn how to build robots and program robots and compete with them with other schools. And last fall we had the opportunity of going to Winthrop, and we were 6th place in the robotics competition. We were enabled to go to state. We're middle school and we were competing against high school students.
The Solo Art Show is an amazing opportunity for students, and especially because we're focused on career readiness right now, it's a really authentic learning and career experience for students who are interested in art as a career, someone like Janet. And also a lot of students now are asking me, how can I get involved in this? How can I have my own solo art show? So I think it's a good inspiration for other students too.
My art teachers have helped me continue on my studies and inspire me to be an art teacher.
They got selected to perform at the Iowa Bandmasters Conference, which is an annual conference that meets every year in Des Moines for band teachers in the state of Iowa.
It's really special and unique because this is really kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That was really incredible. I mean, we started this year off well, but I never expected it to end like this.
I'm Kason, and this is my dad's favorite school mom, known as Don Boone.
Came in as a 6th grader, and I was really worried about him, and he wasn't really writing on his own. He had a tough time keeping up. I kind of just latched him under my wing, and we started to work as a team. At the beginning of this year, I used to play along with Jason, but then he's gotten to the point where he says, no, I got this. I think that's a gift that Jason has, and he wants to be a part of the marching band. I've just seen a lot of responsibility and growth. Now Jason's writing on his own, and he's using his locker.
Oh, I loved it. You know, playing basketball was my dream. Now I'm in track.
Oh, yeah!
It's awesome. It's actually much more than that. It is so special. I don't know what else I'm gonna do without Miss Dawn sometimes.
Working with Jason has taught me to be humble in the teaching field, never take one day for granted of teaching and pursuing success through our students.
Make awesome the norm, make it the expectation, have a great year, be the one. You're gonna get these little things when you walk out, a little card that just has a couple things to remember, put them on your desk. Have a fantastic day. Let's get ready for the kids on Tuesday.
Thank you.